What's up, football-loving maniacs? Time for another edition of Three Honest Lads. I didn't have to go deep into the ball because this man just walked in. He's hot. He is the baddest in the USL Championship, and that's what you get when you have a producer. You can make that statement, and then you get those little bleepy noises. I'm only going to say it once because out of respect for this amazing person next to me, I don't want to use that kind of language in his presence. But seeing him in person play and now having the opportunity to watch him coach gets my blood boiling. Radhi Jaidi, how are you, sir?
I'm good. Thank you very much. Thank you for this crazy presentation. I wasn't expecting the F words, but yeah, I'm up for it.
I got a lot of respect for you. There are a few players. I guess you could take this good and bad, but there are a few players that I've actually had the ability to watch, during your career back in the Prem, and what an amazing career it was. And now getting the opportunity to not only see you coach, but have the opportunity to interact with you. I think first and foremost, let's start here. Wow. I mean, you're with Hartford Athletic. What a turnaround. We'll talk about how you got here in a second. I just want to talk about what the ride has been like for you so far, because it's been a heck of a one. Total turnaround from 2019, new players, new system, new philosophies, and you guys have been what most people would say is successful. What are your thoughts so far?
Yeah, I think it's a crazy season in general, but it's crazy in a positive way for Hartford Athletic in general. From last season to next season is a huge, big difference, and then obviously, seeing Hartford in the playoff is a crazy for the fans, for the community, for the club, the ownership, and then all Hartford related people. It's amazing. For the players and us as a staff, and myself, coming from different, country, different culture, being here, for the first time and then achieve, the playoff with Hartford Athletic is amazing.
Bolton, Birmingham, Southampton, Tunisian men's national team. Off the top of my head, you're probably doing around 500-600 career appearances. Heck of a career, first and foremost. At what point in time did you decide, maybe this coaching thing is the next step for me?
I think same as any football player, prayer I finish my career, I'll start to think about what is the next for me. And then that's where the time you're thinking, okay, I'm going to do business, I'm going to have a rest, I'm going to do that. And then the realistic, stuff come back to your head and say, the only thing I know is football. So I go and coach football, or I go be part of the football backroom staff somewhere in some of the departments. The experience I had, like you mentioned, I think it would be waste for me, to not exploit it somewhere. So the first thing I was thinking, okay, I'm in Southampton, and we have a great academy in Southampton, a great setup. It was a good opportunity for me to learn the basics of coaching and helping the individuals.
I've had the luxury of this conversation. I'd like to try and let the fans share some of the crazy names that you've referenced to me. I asked you whether it was playing or coaching, managers that have had a stylistic impression on how you coach as a person now. And you said, there are too many for me to name. And you talked about Pochettino, Ronald Koeman threw his name as there, Pellegrino as well. Can you just kind of run people through the list? Because again, I've heard it, but run people through who affected you and why?
Well, are you ready for 3 hours? I think I'm gonna try to keep it simple, because I'm a type of a person who take bits from different people. Even from my players, I take some bits. I learn, and I take different ways of trying to influence and trying to manage. But I go back from the start. I think Roger Lemaire back in Tunisia, when I was still in Tunisia in Esperance, and then I was international. And then Roger Lemaire, he just won the 98 World Cup with the French team. He was assistant Aimé Jacquet that time, and he had people like Marcel Desailly as a players, and Thierry Henry and Leboeuf and all that magic generation. And then I had Roger Lemaire. He has a big influence on me in terms of um, give me that will and desire to be a football coach. He was so energetic, so enthusiastic, but so professional in his approach. And what he did, he just protected the players and the staff, and then kept us grow and give us the right, support. It's amazing what he did, for Tunisia at that time, and then that concluded us winning the African Nation in 2004 as the history for the country, and then still now Tunisia is still seeking, to win, another African nation after that. And then coming to England in 2004 as well, I met Sam Allardyce. Actually, people that were criticizing Sam Allardyce and the way he plays on the pitch, but they didn't realize, they realized what Sam Allardyce did outside the pitch for the players and staff. The culture he embeds in Bolton at that time was amazing. Just, you just need to recognize that we had 16 different nationality in the squad, and then he managed, to keep the rhythm and the momentum, and mainly the spirit in changing room and on the pitch, ongoing, and then created, history in the club by qualifying, Bolton Wanderers into the Europa League in 2006 or 2005, sorry. But what I learned from Sam Allardyce is dealing with a multidisciplinary team, and then creating the right support around the players. And also one key was, a big discovery for me was the psychology. Came from Tunisia. In Africa in general, we don't use psychologists. And then the first person I met was not Sam Allardyce. I met as a psychologist. I went through tests and then a little questionnaires, and I went through a lot of, questions that allows the club to provide for me the right setup and the right support for me and my family, especially the family. They know my wife coming from different country. They know my kids coming from different country, different weather. Bolton weather was so horrible, gray all time and rainy. So psychologically it was, draining like a crazy. And then they have a players care. People look after the players and their families, obviously externally, help them with the small bits, to set, the right, to settle in and make them, comfortable. These are small details that really make the difference, and they learn from it. And then after that, going to Birmingham, I had McLeish, I had Steve Bruce, yeah. Steve was a kind of, a really, really eye opener for me, because I thought a manager was a so how to say it, serious guy, and he's a manager who's just doing his job and go out. But Steve Bruce was obviously caring in a different way, on the players, and then try to protect the players in different ways, and then make sure, the players are comfortable. But he did it himself. And going to Southampton, and the biggest period, obviously I stayed the longest and the biggest in Southampton. Stayed for 10 years from playing into coaching. And then I had Alan Pardew, and I had, Nigel Atkins, totally different, opposite, characteristic. Nigel Atkins is so positive person, forward-thinking person that allows you, to express yourself by just, him setting, the positive environment around you. Alan Pardew is experience, and he gave us a lot of support, advices as experienced, Premier League manager. Even that time we were in League One, but that's allowed us, to build the team with experienced players like myself and Kevin Davis, and then Frank, Lambo, and many others, to not forget the names. And then some young players like Alex Chamberlain and Adam Lallana, and then, some young players, Morgan Schneiderlin, some young players who finished in the highest in the Premier League and their national team. So, and then another eye opener for me was since I retired that year, we had Pochettino, who showed a lot of, who I watched a lot of session and I had the opportunity to ask questions as well with him. I had his own staff group, and he has, a very compact, and connection with his staff that allows him to express himself, even though he was not speaking, the language, well that time. That allows him to express himself and then having a positive impact on the players. So all through that, there was one of the hell of the journey going through managers that allows me to take in and pick some bits, from these managers. And then we had Ronald Koeman, and we had, Claude Puel, and lately we have Ralph Hasenhüttl. And every time I pick some bits, whether on the pitch or outside the pitch, and every time, obviously, I had the opportunity to ask these people, what they thought about, that thing or that stuff, from people management, from tactical aspects, and obviously go and apply them and be involved. But not forgetting the expertise I had around in the academy. Obviously, people like Martin Hunter and Steve and Les Reed, they're really vast and experienced, people that allows me, they've been like a mentor for me, mentors for me that give me advices onside the pitch and outside the pitch. I picked a lot. I'm still in touch with these people, and then I feel grateful, to have the base that I have now as a coach. I just needed, the right project and the right opportunity for me to express myself. And Hartford came in a good timing for me to go and express myself. Even though my like I said before, my will and desire, my aspiration is to go as high as possible. But there's always a start, Devin, and the start is in Hartford. I started with 23s at Southampton, but it's still academy. But what I wanted is a real opportunity, and Hartford gave me the right opportunity to go and express myself. And here am I now. We're speaking about playoffs, which is the first time in the history of the club. And then we hopefully we can take this club, to the highest as we can, at least this season.
I'm curious. I want to track back for 1 second, because this is going to combine both player and the coaching side of things, especially tactically, like you talked about. Do you think it was, I don't want to say easier, do you think it was maybe more simplistic in nature, that you were more capable of picking it up because you did come to England in your late 20s instead of maybe in your late teens, early 20s? Because you came at 29, if I'm not mistaken, right?
28.
28. Okay. Do you think it was easier because of that age?
For sure, I was experienced. Even with that, I had difficulties, as I said, to settle myself in, and difference of culture and mindset. But, it was a quick turnover for me, and then quick adjusting and adapted. Maybe if I came, earlier, maybe that I took more time, to adjust myself. Yeah, it's a good point. But, naturally, and if you take it to my natural characteristic as a person, I'm flexible, and I think it won't take me much, to adjust myself.
True or false? Radhi Jaidi, the player, was actually a Golden Boot winner up until the time that everybody said, maybe he's going to be a better center back.
I would be better. I would be better, definitely, if I came slightly earlier. Go back to your point. I would probably, I think, from positive perspective, I would probably came earlier to England and adjust myself as probably one of the best centre backs.
Did you always know? Now let's go back into the coaching, because you made the transition for us coming to Hartford. You talk about wanting to go to the highest level. People could then interpret that as the Premier League. People could interpret that as coaching for a national team. You knew the step was going to come. Did you always know that step was going to be America?
No, to be honest, it wasn't, but I knew the step will come. It could be anywhere in the world, because the world is vast, and for a person to express herself, it does need a project and opportunity. And obviously the opportunity came in USA. I wished if the opportunity comes, in England, for one thing, my family, my wife, Raja, my kids, and then definitely I will be better. But where the football prepared for it. Just need to prepare for it. I spoke to many coaches and managers before, and the first thing they told me, make sure you have a base, but you won't be in that base. You will be running around, from city to city from country to country, and make sure you have a returning place, which is home, and hopefully, obviously, get back home to my wife and my kids.
Radhi, a storied career, and you're just making reference to time in England as a player, of course, before coming to the United States, and as a coach as well. Have you ever experienced a time in your career? Because in England, you're like you talk about, you have your base, you travel around, but you're talking quick flight, quick bus rides, quick train. It's not like the United States traveling around. Have you ever experienced that away from your family, and what's that like?
I used to play football, and even as a coach, you have to travel. You have to take the bus rides and then go away. But I had some experience before, when you go for 2 months or 3 months away to different countries. I was international. We play in the African nation. We play in the World Cups, and these are the experience. So I've been on the road all my career as a football player and as a coach. But to go that long, to be fair, it's the first time, especially with the COVID-19 setback that stopped obviously the connection between the countries, which is hard for everyone.
Can I assume that we're probably going to get better Christmas presents this year then?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, that's the positive bit. That's the positive bit about obviously playing or coaching in USA. Obviously, you can have your Christmas, period with the family, hopefully, and then definitely, obviously, enjoy the watching football as well.
As always, positive thoughts to you and your family, and make sure everybody's safe throughout the rest of what's going on in this crazy 2020. Let's transition to Hartford. You come over. Coming into the beginning of the season, picking your brain, talking to a couple coaches around the league, had an idea of maybe what this might look like in terms of playing style. Can you kind of walk us through what you expect to see out of your squads and where you guys are at compared to where you want to go?
No, I know what I want from the start. I know how I wanted to play from the start, and just needed, the right players, which is something we did already in the Christmas period before, obviously during my transition from Southampton to Hartford, and then obviously we had the right players on board, and then straight away come on the pitch and then do what we need to do, and going through the principles of plays and go through the expectation in every position, and then even mentally we go through the psychology about some players, having the observation skills to look at the players and then go and apply it independently of what the USL Championship look like. My expectation on some position and on principles of play is the Premier League level. I've been in the Premier League, for enough time, and I've been in Southampton Academy with the 23s enough time to understand which players can fulfill the expectation in their positions, and then just a matter of going and apply them. I had some players who played with 23s and they're now regular players in the first team in Southampton, and they have enough experience, to recognize who can do what, and then go and challenge the players. The only thing, you have to be patient, and the difference of culture and the mindset that probably I find it kind of challenging, but we get through it. And then I think now you can see the Hartford Athletic play are totally different.
Let's stay there for a sec. In a general standpoint, what's the biggest difference in your mind, or I should say in your opinion, from what you experienced with the 23s to the USL Championship level?
My impression is this. I'll still try to get it, to be fair. I'm not really 100%, but I think I get it. So football in Europe is a matter of life and death. It's a family affair. It's a family affair. It's if you lose, it's miserable. If you win, it's a happiness and it's a success. And that's can replicate in any situation in a football in general. I felt like here, it's if you lose, it's fine. But this go back to one thing. I think that make a big difference, and hopefully, the USL Championship will be much better as soon as the changes. It's the promotion and relegation level. It make a huge difference between owners' decisions, between coaches and players, and then even the USL Championship decisions in many aspects. If there is a promotion and relegation, will put a lot of pressure on many people, and then that will raise the level, straight away, included the players. Okay, the players will be more demands, will be more performances needed from players' perspective, from coaches' perspective, and then obviously that will have a knock-on effect on the base, which is academy level, which is the coaching level, because teams will need players to go and put an impact in the first team, go and win games, go and have the right characteristic, to go win games, and this make a big difference for me. And I think that's what will took me to. I can go through the details, what the culture look like. There is a big difference in culture. Don't get me wrong, but I think at the end, go back to one thing: it's a promotion and relegation. If teams get relegated because they lost the game, because one of the players didn't have the right performance, or coaches didn't have the performance, they have to make decision to it, then will be the difference, would be a big difference. So I think it's always go back to one thing: is promotion and relegation. And still till now, I receive texts from my friends telling me, oh yeah, so you get promoted then next season to MLS. I said, no, there is no promotion to MLS. You get playoff, that's it. We have to win the playoff to show that we're the best team, that's it. So probably people didn't get to understand yet, but here will make a big difference.
I 100% agree with you. There is an interesting argument, we'll say, from people like yourself who have played at the highest level, who have experienced international football. But I had the opportunity. I interviewed Tim Howard, and Tim Howard, of course, played in the Premier League for a long time, and he talked about that. He talked about how players in the United States don't necessarily, from a culture standpoint, understand what that drive is, because they don't have to dig down deep, and there's no step to the next level, and it's something missing heavily from the academy level, from the collegiate level, and it's something that United States soccer needs to make that change in order to make a change at another level. You want results here, you have to change something over there. I think it's insanity to think it's just going to happen overnight.
Yeah, I think is the outcome in general. The outcome is need more of excitement, and need more of challenging in terms of the outcome. I'm not speaking about business point of view and then finance point of view, because apparently there is some restrictions on that aspect, and then to transfer from promotion relegation, from playoffs to promotion relegation, needs a lot of other aspects. But I'm speaking from coaching point of view, what I observed as a person and as an individual, and then I'm glad that I'm not the first one. To be fair, it's obvious, but the knock-on effect, as I said, to the liars under it is a huge, and then this is what makes the difference in Europe, because people is already on board, and then people pushing every day, and you see the clubs what they do. Sometimes coaches winning games, but still they sack them because the demands are high. And then same thing for the players. You need players, obviously, to fulfill the expectation in their position. Players, fans. The fans. Oh my God, the fans. When team is playing for the promotion, is a difference than when team is in the mid-table. And there is a big difference when you win a relegation, and you can see in England, especially, when it's a relegation, period is huge, and it's amazing for me, that how that can make big difference psychologically on the individuals. And again, going back to from players' perspective, I'm not even going to speak about what owners will think and directors will think about that, because it'll be huge pressure both ways. But from players' perspective, the culture will change, the demand will change. And definitely that will have an impact on what on the pitch coach will want. Okay, will want, of course, and demand will be higher. And this is what I said from the start. With the Hartford Athletic players, the demands are high. I came obviously with a different mindset. What I had to tweak is I found out what the players' drive is, and then to be fair, we had players in the club here who are driven by success. They wanted to prove themselves, their success. Then the young kids who wanted obviously to take the USL Championship opportunity to prove themselves and then build from there, which is great. One thing obviously I need to go back to obviously is we have people working behind the scenes, to bring the right players. Despite obviously the finance, we brought players who are hungry and players who has the will obviously to work. Okay, we didn't bring a lot of players who know one in the league. We brought players who are hungry to play, which is key. And this is go back again to the help of mainly the ownership part. But Paul Bockel and Luis Fernandez, obviously, they helped a lot on that aspect. When I was in England, I was liaising with them and asking about, the players' characteristic, and obviously they helped me and supported me on that.
What's the biggest difference in your mind from what you thought the environment, the culture, maybe even the play is compared to what you thought it was going to be prior to coming over?
Well, I managed to watch, last season games and teams, and I watched Hartford as well, games and some of the games. What I found out in terms of the on the pitch, you mean, and on the pitch is a slower game compared to Europe, compared to England at least. It's a slower game that gives time to the team on the ball to do whatever he wants, if they have the capability and the quality to do it. And obviously expose the team who defend, okay? And then there's a lot of spaces between the lines. There's a lot of, spaces around, behind the lines. And there's something I noticed. I said that's not possible in my mind. I don't play like that. And then me coming from a different culture, and then especially I met Ralph Hasenhüttl, and then I learned from him, from obviously the high press and the reducing the spaces and creating an overload. I won't accept that. So as you can see this season, obviously Hartford, we pressed most of the teams. The only team will give a little bit of respect and they regret, with my respect to Pittsburgh, is the game when we lost there. But I think the main issue was we did a lot of individual mistakes. But then as soon as we pressed them high, and then we exposed them, we challenged them. We got what we want, and we got the best win in history. So again, I think even our approach in the training session is different. So a lot of intensity, a lot of energy and hard work. Okay, we work a lot over the loads, which is something that the players, they're not used to it. So they found it a little bit difficult. But then straight away they adjusted to it, and then we're much better now.
Your background with the Southampton Academy, the U23s, you've talked about Red Bull in our conversations together and what those systems look like. How do you as a person continue to challenge yourself when it's so difficult to master one thing, but you obviously want to continue to take these steps and you want to continue to evolve? How do you stay motivated to do things like that?
I'm naturally driven and intrinsically driven by success. So I wanted to obviously prove myself as a coach, same as many. But also I want to have the project that allows me to improve and progress. But also keep my feet on the ground and keep challenging myself and learning, from different, either cultures or different, levels, and different people, and then keep myself, ongoing. And I've been doing this, and I will never stop this. I've always been humble with what I achieve. I won a lot of trophy and a lot of, challenges, but still learning and still, improving myself as a person. Of course, I'm a human being. I will do mistakes, but I'll learn from the mistakes. I'll never do the same mistakes and move forward.
I mentioned this to you coming on air that we would be releasing We're recording this probably about a week before it's going to be going out. So you guys are coming off a fantastic victory. You just made reference to it against Pittsburgh Riverhounds twice before, 5-0, 3-0. You guys were masterclass in your performance. You did pretty much everything right. Pick and chose your opportunities in the other end. Excuse me, a couple games left going forward. You've got Philadelphia Union 2 on the midweek, and then you have to travel again to Red Bull 2 on the weekend. Do you think in your mind, can you grab that number one spot?
We will go for it, and independently of the challenge. We were aware of the challenge. Obviously, it was all based on Pittsburgh game. And in my mind, I said, if we win Pittsburgh game, that's an opportunity for us to go and challenge the number one or top table, or top group, spot. And I think, it's realistically, a good objective. And then we will take our chance on it. Of course, I need to be, we're aware of our players, and the time we're going to spend on the road is going to be huge. But, we have a strongly believe since day one that we're going to achieve something this season. And as I said to you, we're achieving the playoff spot. We want to confirm that. Like I told you last week, we didn't challenge Pittsburgh. We give them the games. And then as soon as we challenge them, we got the game. So that was an eye opener for the players, and the players, they saw it. And straight away we took it. So we will go for it, Devin, direct, and then we'll move forward. So I think it's achievable, and hopefully, we can manage the two games and the trips in between well, and then we prepare ourselves, well to the playoffs.
We wish you the best of luck on that journey. Just a few more, Coach. We'll get you out of here. The last one for you as an individual. You've talked about your drive. I'm curious, what is it like behind the scenes when you finish a game that you've lost or you've had a good result against Pittsburgh? What is it like in self-retrospection, looking back and going, we got this right, we got this wrong, tape review, understanding where maybe you should have tweaked things differently? Walk me through what that's like mentally for you.
Mentally, now I started obviously to manage myself and control myself, because I'm, as I said, someone who wanted to win and do the right preparation and go through the small details, to win. And if you lose, then he will straight away. What I do is reflect on myself. But I needed, a little bit of energy, and I get this energy obviously from my family. So after the game, straight away, I get my energy from my wife, who really, supported me in a good and bad. And then as soon as I get that energy, I go and reflect, to what I've done right and what I've done wrong, what was the right, what was the wrong, and then take the right decision and the actions, for you to move forward. Because at the end of the day, obviously it's a game of football, and then you will go and express yourself again. The most important thing is keep on moving forward. Okay, don't step too much. And the last period was, to be fair, is good, because the turnovers was quickly between 2 days before every game, so we didn't have time to dwelling and then keep pointing fingers or keeping burning my brain about what happens. What we need to do is the key. And again, as I said, so I seek energy. I get it from my wife, and then decision making. And reflection, obviously, I get it from many people around me, but I always try, obviously, to move forward and make sure that I take the right decisions, to motivate the players and get the right, set up, to go again.
I had a trainer of mine growing up, a very, very, very influential one that basically I had known from a young age, probably 9 or 10, but he got his hands on me around 14 and carried me through to my collegiate career and just before the start of my professional career. That wasn't very long because I was always injured and surgeries. But agree with what his words are or not, he used to say something funny to me that kind of encompasses a lot of what you're saying. And he'd say, God, football, family, food. It's like in that order. Don't get it wrong. And I can kind of hear some of the spirit behind you, the way you talk about things. What's the biggest difference between you as a coach and you as a player?
Oh yeah, huge difference. Oh my God. I wish I was a football coach since even I was playing. I hate myself. I think obviously, being a football player is being spoiled and being given everything. That ruin your attitude and your behaviors. Especially me being in the highest level, and then especially go back to Tunisia, being someone who achieved history for the country. So it's sometimes make you a certain extent football player just lazy. No, with more respect to the players, because I know there is a lot of hard players, but between the times, between training sessions and games, okay, I always encourage the football players now to exploit that space, because you're speaking about 24 hours. You're training 3 hours in a day, and then you have 21 hours, and that if you don't exploit them and then do the right stuff for you as a person to improve, for you as a dad, or as a husband, for you as a businessman, whatever you like to do in the life, you're wasting your time. So I think I didn't have the advice from coaches before about that. So I when I returned back to that, I said I hated myself now. I hated myself at that time. So I'm much better now. I'm exploiting my time. I think well, I must still need to exploit it and then use it in the right way. But I'm much better now, more matured. Of course, just celebrating my birthday lately, so I'm older. So make me more matured and more composed, in relation to what I'm doing and what I want to do. So yeah, definitely I prefer and like myself now than as a player. Even again, there was some good moment as a player. There's a lot of memories there. As I said, I'm really happy and satisfied with my career and the way the way it happened. It's great, but I'm trying to build and create better memories as a coach.
Love that. Love everything about that. Really, really well said. A couple fun ones. Favorite American food that you've had since coming here to the States?
Oh my God. Yeah. I was trying, obviously, to be flexible with my foods. I decided since the COVID-19, to be vegetarian, but then I found it really difficult to replace the proteins and all that stuff. So I decided to go flexitarians. I don't want to be a bad reference, to my players, especially, and the football players in general. But there's a lot of takeaways in America, and you can't let yourself down in that aspect. So I think the burgers, they're the best foods you can try in USA, and then specifically the Plan B burgers. Oh my God, the Plan B with the parmesan and all that stuff. It's totally different scale.
Are you
But I have it once in a while, so be careful. You need to ask your nutritionist.
Yeah, we won't tell anybody. Don't worry.
Especially from players' perspective, you need to ask the nutritionist, obviously to give you the right, advice when to eat it.
My nutritionist just walked by me. She's a vegetarian. So we don't get a lot of that in this house. We always ask on this because everybody's got some sort of vice, a sweet tooth, if you will. Are you a chocolate or like a gummy candy type person? Some wine gums, maybe.
I'm quite, I don't know, probably I don't know yet, but I'm quite disappointed about the chocolate. I'm a chocolate person. I like chocolate, milk chocolate.
Not American chocolate.
But I didn't find the right milk chocolate, here. So hopefully there is, but I didn't find it. So I keep myself away with it. So that's the only thing I say. But every time I go and do I go sneaky, look on the shopping centers and go to the sweet place, but I don't find the right chocolate. So I leave it there.
Trust me, stick with the Toblerone, stick with the Kinder, stick with the Swiss. The States doesn't have it. That's one thing. I'm a big chocolate guy, and the United States doesn't have it. Sorry, people can get mad at us, but yeah. Let me give you that advice there. Make it easy.
I'm happy with that. I'm keeping more weight, controlled, so I'm happy with that.
Looking around the league, you've seen Pittsburgh a couple times, obviously. Because of the way that the scheduling broke down, you haven't had the opportunity to play other teams firsthand, but knowing you and what a student of the game you are, I'm sure you've definitely taken a look. Who do you like? It could be an entire team, could be a player, could be a coach.
I want to play again Indy, and I liked the way obviously they challenged us that day. Still want to play them again, obviously to challenge them, and I like obviously the way the players and all that stuff. To be fair, I didn't have much, to watch the other groups because of the theme, the group theme. I was more focused on our groups and the teams we're playing against. But definitely Indy, Nashville, they're the teams obviously in the other group, Group F, that we're gonna meet. Obviously, one of them, whether we finish first or the second, and I already started to watch them, and I think they're good teams already because they're leading the groups and the leagues, and then yeah. So I don't have a lot of look on the other groups, to be fair.
Roddy, I meant to ask this earlier, and I apologize. Had you been to the States before?
Yeah, I've been here twice before I come to Hartford. Not to stay for long, but I played twice. I played the Atlanta '96, the Olympic
Summer
Games.
Yeah, absolutely.
With Tunisia. Played against USA. We lost, unfortunately. And then I came for friendly games, I think, in Washington, national team against USA as well. I think we won. So yeah, I had good memories from USA and it was a bit like question mark when I heard about USA going to Coach USA, but then for me it was no brain.
One of my favorite memories as a youth, even during my playing career, I was 11 or 12 years old at the Summer Games, and I got to be a ball boy. It was the final group match between Brazil and Nigeria at the Orange Bowl in Miami. Never forget, got to walk out right next to Ronaldo. And that's a Ronaldo that was the original, in my opinion, the only Ronaldo. But crazy that I didn't realize you had been here before, and that's super awesome.
Yes.
In your mind, and this will be the last, actually, I have one quick question after that, but in your mind, in terms of everything that you could or would want to accomplish in your career, would the highest level or highest honor for you be coaching a Premier League team? Would it be coaching in the Bundesliga, La Liga? Would it be coaching a national team, Tunisia possibly? Or you do not have that made up yet?
Well, I said many times, obviously, because I come from the English system. I never my pro license is English, and obviously doing nationality as an English. I always, been one of the aspiration I had is when I played in the Premier League as a football player. That's one of the things that encouraged me to go and coach and go back to the Premier League. So Premier League will be one thing that I want to achieve. But as a coach and as a person, you need to be realistic to the opportunities that you have. If you have an opportunity, you'll take it. Opportunity with the right, as I said, set up a right project that allows you to express yourself and improve yourself, and then obviously get the right honors. You'll take it, whatever it is, and the most important thing is you'll be happy and satisfied with what you achieved. You shoot for yourself and your family, and this is something that, of course, I'm aware of. I have a dream, same as any person, and probably I'm one of the rarest or fewest who speak about their dreams. But I'll stick there till the last day in my life, and then we'll see what I'm going to achieve.
You made reference as a player and as a coach earlier for the promotion relegation in the United States. Though there are plans in the works, timeline is undefined for the USL to do that, Championship League 1, League 2. Do you think, and this is the last question, do you think that ever bridges the gap where MLS, USL, so on and so forth, all of them combine, or no?
Can you say the question again, please? The last bit.
No problem. So we know that it's probably Pro-Rel is going to happen in USL. Do you think it ever happens where it's MLS and USL combined?
It will take more time. That's why the time is not defined. It will be amazing. It will be amazing, but I think it will be standing on many other aspects. There is a political aspect as well, and mentality or culture mindset. So we need to take in consideration. But definitely, it will be amazing for this country to have the combined MLS, USL Championship, and then go lower, because the realistic and the obvious is from USL you go to MLS. But again, as I said to you, there is many other aspects, financial wise and political wise, and maybe other aspects, that probably make it longer for that to happen. But I wish it anyway. Same as any other, I think, coach or player or owners, maybe they wish that to happen, because that will, take football, soccer to different level.
You can say football. You can say
it. Yeah. Sometimes people mix it up. The last person I met that said football, he thought speaking about American football.
Yeah, Coach, beyond grateful for your time. I know that selfishly, I would love to keep you for hours. I think that would take probably a lot of hamburgers for us, a box of chocolate, a case of chocolate, and we could probably go deep into the night on that. But we are grateful for the time that you shared with us. That is Radhi Jaidi. This is Throughout Us Lads. I am Devin Kerr. Thank you very much, sir. Best of luck on the rest of the season.
Thank you very much, Devin. Thank you for this invite. Hopefully, I answered, as maximum as possible question you want. But yeah, thank you very much for this invite.
Cheers, Coach.